Cinnamon rolls are the ultimate fall staple, and so is pumpkin spice. Put them together and you have everything nice. Today, we're making pumpkin spice cream cheese cinnamon rolls. Hey, new and returning besties. We're kicking this recipe off with none other than grand cinnamon rolls. We're using the TikTok recipe that broke the internet last year. It's super easy and really yummy, and I kind of didn't feel like doing cinnamon rolls from scratch. They're labor intensive, even though they're great. So I figured let's bring back the TikTok recipe with a twist. So I'm using 1 pack of the grands. You can go ahead and do the full recipe, which is 2 grand packs of the cinnamon roll, but we're just using 1 today. So that gives us 5 cinnamon rolls. It's just for the fam, so don't need to do too many. I mean, could you really have too many cinnamon rolls? Okay, so I'm putting it on parchment paper. You kind of don't have to because we're gonna add heavy cream to it. So you're not really gonna have a lot of sticking at the bottom of your pan, but parchment paper makes everything kind of neat and clean, so why not? Separating those rolls, make sure you don't freeze them, that they are not room temp, just kind of straight out of the refrigerator, I suppose. And I tried this for the first time when it took off like wildfire, and it was really good. I only tried it once last fall, so definitely needed to bring it back. Here's the heavy cream. So I'm using 1/2 of a cup of heavy cream. There are a bunch of different recipes that say TikTok viral cinnamon rolls. I just found one on Pinterest that had the most ratings and just kind of went with it. It seemed to be in unison with a lot of the other recipes. So 1/2 cup of the heavy cream, and then we're using 1/4 cup of the butter. Here's a twist that I decided to do on my own that no recipe called for, and instead of just melted butter, I made mine brown butter. So as you can see, the butter start to warm, it turns really brown, and it gives you that kind of brown color, and you can see the sediment at the bottom of that little glass bowl. We're adding some brown sugar to that. All of the ingredients will be in the description box below. We're gonna mix the brown sugar in with the browned butter. You don't have to brown your butter, but it definitely adds a little bit of flavor, and it gives it a nice complex kind of buttery flavor. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just really nice and warm, and it gives you a nice hug. And in fall, like, your snack should definitely give out some hugs, okay? Okay, so that's the consistency that we want it to look like. And we're just really gonna put that right on top of the cinnamon rolls that have been soaking up that heavy cream, really only for about 10 minutes. I've seen the recipes online say that you can store it overnight. I just kind of feel like it would make your rolls a little soupy, but I don't know. Again, I'm, still a newbie home baker, so I'm learning as I go and trying out recipes and seeing what works and what doesn't. I find that the 10-minute kind of sitting there is just fine. So into the oven on 350 degrees for 20 minutes, and then we're just gonna take that foil off. In the meantime, we're gonna do the frosting or icing or glaze, whatever you wanna call it. Pumpkin spice to 1/2 brick of Philadelphia cream cheese. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of pumpkin puree, and then to 1/2 of the 8 ounce of the Philadelphia cream cheese. And then we're adding just 1/4 teaspoon of your pumpkin spice, 1/4 cup of softened butter. And we're just going to go ahead and mix that up to make the first batch of our cream cheese icing. So we're gonna mix that up before we add the powdered sugar. I am definitely trying to do this hand mixer a little bit more often so that you all can actually see the ingredients mix and be incorporated instead of my stand mixer, which is so much easier, but it is harder to see while I'm showing you guys on film. So here we go with the hand mixer. It does look prettier as you do it. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but trust me, it definitely beefs up a little bit when you add the powdered sugar. So I added 1 cup. The recipe called for, I just found, again, another recipe on Pinterest and tweaked it myself. There was no recipe that added the pumpkin puree. I kind of did that myself, and I'm very proud of me because this came out amazing. Again, the recipe will be in the description box below. I stood there after this was all done and I literally just took the spoon and went to town on the frosting. Like cinnamon roll, we know that's fire, right? But this frosting is like everything. And I think it's because of the puree that I added, the tablespoon of the puree that I added. Instead of just adding the pumpkin spice seasoning, that puree really set it off. So anyway, back to the recipe. So we're just mixing with the hand mixer. Just want to make sure that all of that stuff, all of those ingredients are incorporated. Nice consistency. It wasn't soupy at all, and it was probably because the pumpkin itself wasn't runny. Okay, so I took the foil off after 20 minutes and let it sit in the oven on 350 for another 10 minutes and finish baking, and then out of the oven, and it's set out for another 10 minutes. If you put the icing on too soon, I read that it's just gonna run and like not really hold up. So I listened to the experienced folks and didn't jump in too soon. I kind of had some, what do you call it, willpower? And I waited 10 minutes and then I just added the frosting. I left it thick and did not put any heavy cream in it to make it more of a glaze because I really wanted to have that flavor of the pureed pumpkin and cream cheese mixture on top, and I wanted it to be thicker than a glaze. So it's still quite warm. When you add the frosting, it definitely starts to kind of melt in. And this amount gives you a lot and you'll have some left over. So what I did was I just sprinkled a little bit of your pumpkin spice, that one said pumpkin pie spice, same thing, on top of the cinnamon rolls just for some garnish, and like just a couple of sticks of cinnamon because we're fancy over here. And there you go. Oh my gosh, so yummy. Can you smell it? Can you smell it? Ooh, I wish you could taste it. If you make it, you can taste it. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you always know when I upload. Enjoy.